Welcome back, guys. So it's been a little while since I've put up a video. I actually did record some content, had audio issues with this GoPro. This GoPro is really starting to work on my patience, but hopefully we won't have any of those issues today. So I recorded things, but didn't record things. We cut the firewall, so the motor's sitting roughly where I want it to be sitting. And now with that, we got some new parts. The water plate to eliminate the water pump came in. Totally stoked about that. And yay, another iteration of oil filter relocators. I know everyone's looking forward to that. Also, we had this header mount, but now I have all of the piping. So not all of the piping, but we have some of the piping, so hopefully we'll be able to mock up how the turbo is going to perch itself off the side. And the fun thing, that, or at least something that I'm really stoked about, is motor mounts. So the motor mounts are going to be a fun thing. Cut them out on the CNC, and we're going to attach it to the side of the frame and attach it to the block. I went with this design. I'm not sure if it's going to bite me in the butt or not, but I'm thinking with it attached to the frame and attached to the block, you undo this bolt, remove the bushing itself, and it will give you a lot of room for the engine to go up and down and slide forward without it obstructing and hitting the motor mount bracket, if you will. So I don't want something too big and bulky, because I was looking at V8 GM motor mounts, and those were really nice and looked like they would fabbed up easily, but it would have just been very bulky, and I would have this giant thing sitting off the side here and off of here, and it would just, you would have to take off a bunch of stuff basically to clear pulling the engine out, making it clear that bulkiness. So I know that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm actually looking forward to the design. Those motor mounts there, I have two of them, are for a BMW, so that's from another type of car. And with all that being said, I was talking with my friend, and we were thinking of cool names to name the car, and it's really turning into Frankenstein of parts from different vehicles. And we were thinking about naming the car Frank for Frankenstein, because it truly is a Frankenstein of a car with Nissan, Honda, BMW, and just aftermarket parts galore. So we are thinking about naming it Frank. Also, another thing I want to work on is the cross member for the transmission before I go too far with the motor mounts. So if I start welding the motor mounts and the motor is from the center of the crank from rail to rail, I know the motor's straight here, but that doesn't mean that the tail shaft of the transmission is kind of askewed. So the front of the motor could be square on, but the back could be like this. So when I tack on the motor mounts, you know, it could be not good. So yes, we need to work on the transmission. I've had questions about cutting the firewall up. I really didn't need to go as extensive as I did. I personally wanted the engine to be pushed back as far as possible for good weight distribution for autocrossing and things like that. I cut out the heater box area, which wasn't even necessary, even with me making the engine go back further because I wanted. You can see, I can still have the heater box in there if I really wanted to. It didn't need to come out, but I figured I wasn't going to run heat living here in Florida, so why not eliminate it and gain more space in the engine bay. Same thing with the hole I cut over on the passenger side and the hole I cut out of the floorboard of the driver's side. Again, those weren't terribly necessary, except for the fact that I wanted the engine to go back further. The shifter almost lines up perfectly in the tunnel. It will need a custom shorter shifter. They make them, just the bracket is a little shorter on the tail housing of the transmission. I also was contemplating going in the service plate, but the service plate is actually much further up than I expected, so I almost could keep with a OEM style shifter on the back side of this transmission. So those are a few of the updates for today. I'm hoping that once I get the new camera, there'll be a lot more content playing with all those fancy new parts. So please stay tuned, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.